on the other side of the Jordan River, Elijah and Elisha began to talk about the fact that Elijah was leaving. And Elisha pleaded with him, "Don't go. I have to go, Elisha. But let me ask you this. What do you want me to give you? What can I do for you before I go?" And Elisha thought about that. And then he said to his master and teacher, "I want to have in me the same spirit that is in you. Give me your spirit, Elijah. That's what I want." And Elijah said, "Wow, that's a really difficult thing, Elisha. But I'll tell you this. If you see me when I am being taken away from you, you will receive my spirit. If you don't see me, you will not." And then they talked a little more. And as they talked, the heavens opened up, and a whirlwind came out of the heavens, and on the whirlwind there was a chariot of fire, pulled by horses of fire, whoosh, came right down in between Elijah and Elisha, and Elisha saw it. And the charioteer put his hand out to Elijah and said, "Come on board, Elijah. We have places to go and things to do." And Elijah climbed on board the chariot of fire, and off it went into the whirlwind. And Elisha said, "I see you. I see you, Elijah, Elijah, my father, defender of Israel. You are gone from me." Elisha fell on the ground, and he wept, and he took off his cloak, and he tore it in half in anguish, and he looked up to the sky again to where he had last seen Elijah, and as he looked up into the sky, he saw something. A little speck, perhaps a bird, perhaps a leaf, but now the speck was growing larger and fluttering down to the ground bit by bit. And it landed in front of him. And it was the cloak that Elijah had been wearing. And Elisha threw aside his own torn cloak, and he picked up Elijah's cloak, and he put it on himself. And now the great question is this: did Elijah give his spirit to Elisha as he said he would? Elisha began to walk back to the Jordan River that he could cross over and rejoin the 50 prophets of Israel. And when he came to the bank of the Jordan River, he took off Elijah's cloak and he rolled it out. And he touched the river with it. And nothing happened. And all the prophets of Israel saw it and went, "Oh." And then Elisha rolled the cloak again, and he touched the waters of the Jordan with it a second time. And this time, the waters parted. And as he began to walk across on dry land, all the prophets of Israel began to shout, "The spirit of Elijah rests upon Elisha. He has received a double portion. And when Elisha crossed the river, all the prophets of Israel bowed down to him. An incredible story. The story that says, even when Elijah is gone, his Spirit will be with us and his work will continue, and we don't need to ever be afraid. And it's on that story that the ascension of Christ is based. The same fear in the disciples. When you are gone from us, Jesus, what will we do? And Jesus says, I will give you my Spirit. Whatever I have done, you can do. Whatever miracle, you can do. Whatever ministry, it will continue, because my Spirit is in you. So today's story is about the ascension of Elijah, the ascension of Jesus, but it's also about your ascension and the fact that you too are going into the heavenly kingdom and God's Spirit is with you. Do not fear. Just as God released his people from captivity in Egypt, so you will be released from all captivity and all fear. When the day comes that you die, do not be afraid. Live for joy and live with wonder and awe, because when the day comes that you die, you are not going into the grave or into nothingness. No, indeed, the skies are going to split open and a chariot of fire is going to come down for you, drawn by horses of fire on the back of the whirlwind, and the charioteer is going to reach out to you and say, let's go! It is not over. We have places to go. There's things to do. Now, I know you might just struggle a bit with that. And you may think, well, I don't think I'm going to have a chariot of fire. I think my chariot of fire has a flat tire. And the flat tire is this. The fact that we live in 2008 and we don't believe in nonsense like that. We are way too sophisticated and scientific and intelligent to believe that nonsense. Well, let me tell you just a little secret, and don't tell anybody else. You don't have to take the chariot of fire literally.